Hi everyone, it's Valerie from Eartherella Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm making something new. I'm trying something completely new. First of all, I have never really been a big fan of melt and pour soap, and I will be using only melt and pour soaps today. This is my the white melt and pour soap, and then for the remainder I will be using clear melt and pour. I typically only use my melt and pour soaps for my embeds, for my cold process soap bars, but I saw something on YouTube. Katie Carson from Royalty Soaps, she made a really awesome soap. It was like a little, it was a goldfish in a fishbowl type soap, and it was she had cold process on the bottom, and the rest was the clear. And her soap was just adorable. I think it was one of the cutest soaps ever, and I really wanted to try that. And I'm gonna try it with all melt and pour soaps instead of using the cold process on the bottom. So this is going to be my version. I was inspired by her soap, so I'm going to try that. I will be using the fragrance Beach Bum by Nature's Garden. So that will be my fragrance. I did make my own embeds, and I think they turned out pretty cute. I'm not going to be doing goldfish. So these are like little sharks. They're like a bluish gray silver. Then I have these little dolphins that turned out really bright blue, but I think they turned out really cute. And then I have some octopus. I have some red and some that are a silverish blue. And some starfish. And then I have some of these worm things. And I think I had like one that was like a silver. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to be putting these in this soap. It's going to be like more, it's not going to be a goldfish or a fishbowl type soap. It's going to be more like the ocean, a little bit, you know, my version of the ocean. So first of all, I have already melted down my white melt and pour soap, and I'm going to add my pre-measured fragrance to that. Give it a stir. My goal is to make the bottom layer like a little bit sandy. I have some mocha colored mica, so I'm going to put in a little of that. I want it to be like, this doesn't make it too brown. I'm going to try that. I just want it to be like a tan. I'm going to use my little thing here. Yeah, I know I'm getting bubbles. It looks like a grayish color, like a grayish. I think I'll add a little bit more brown. Kind of get rid of those bubbles on top. This is just rubbing alcohol that I'm spraying on here. And then I'm going to add, I have walnut shell powder, and I bought a bag of it off of Amazon. So I'm just going to pour some of that down here to give it a little texture. And give that a stir. And also when you wash with it, it'll give it it'll like exfoliate a little bit. I think that actually looks pretty good. You can see, it's hard to see from the camera, but up close, let me see if I can get some. You can see like how it looks a little gritty, kind of like sand. So that's kind of how I wanted it. So I'm going to pour all of this into my mold. because this is going to be the bottom layer. Actually, I think that's as much as I'm going to put in there. Spray it again. Now I'm going to let that set for a little bit before I continue to the next step. And then I will be melting some clear melt and pour soap while this is hardening a little bit. So I will be back once this is starting to solidify. Mold, I had enough left over of the ocean floor, so I grabbed another mold and I poured some more in the second one. As you can see, I was able, as it was cooling, I was able to manipulate it a little bit so it's not so flat on the bottom, because I mean, what ocean floor do you know that's completely flat on the bottom? And I did pour a little bit more. I just kind of sprinkled some more of the walnut powder on top of that, and I kind of mixed it in a little bit. And it's pretty solid now for the most part. So I'm going to set this aside for 1 second. I'm going to add my fragrance to my clear melt and pour that is now melted. Unfortunately, that turned it yellow. So, where is my... I really wanted to leave it as clear as possible, but it's turned like a yellow color. So I have some ocean blue colorant from Wholesale Supplies Plus. I'm just going to put like 1 drop in, see what it does. Two more drops. I want more of a blue than a green. Like a turquoise. That's pretty. Kind of like Aruba. I will leave it like that, I think. And I'm going to pour a thin layer on in each of these. Just a thin layer. Spray with my rubbing alcohol again to get rid of any bubbles. Oops, there's some more. Alright, now I'm going to like put in some of my embeds. Like here's a worm. Now I know these will be, they'll end up getting cut because of the, actually that one's not going to work. That one's not going to work. It keeps scrolling. We'll do that one. Kind of push it into the sand a little bit. Just want to make sure it's going to stay. And I'm going to wait until, let me see if this will work. Yeah, I'm going to wait until this starts to solidify a little bit. Then I will kind of squish my embeds in there. I'll like push them in, and then so they will stay. Because if I put them in now, they're not going to stay. So I'm going to leave it just like that and then let this layer harden. And then I'll come back and I'll just keep adding embeds and keep layering the liquid. Okay, so I'm kind of zoomed in a little bit closer so you can see more of what I'm doing. So I want a shark, like I have this section off every 2 inches. Some of it's starting to rub off already, but so I want a shark in each one. So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a little shark embed and dipping the bottom of it in the clear melt and pour, and then I'm putting it where I want it to be. The first layer is not completely solidified yet. It's like halfway there. So I'm just kind of pushing down, holding it in place. And just doing this for each one. I'm just doing one mold at a time. I have the other one set aside. I can only concentrate on one thing at a time. There's like a top layer that's like a skin on the first layer, and it's actually helping because if I can poke a hole through that, it's liquid underneath it. So if I can do that, then it really helps keeping the pieces, all of the embeds in place. So that seems to be working. And I'm going to add a little octopus facing the other direction. See if I can do this. And then once my embeds are all set in place for this mold, I'm going to, actually, you know what, I'm going to pull out that. I don't want my octopus right there. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I have all of my sharks in place. So since they're where I want them, and as long as I can tell that they're not going to go anywhere, I'm going to pour another layer of my clear melt and pour. Very slowly. So they seem to be staying in place, so that's good. I'm only going to pour another layer. It's not too thick. Spray it again. And now I'm going to wait for this layer to harden. So I'm going to do little layers at a time. Alright, here's what I've got so far. I've done 2 layers now. So you can see the little, the worms on the bottom, the sharks in the first layer. On the second layer I have the red octopuses and the yellowish starfish. Can you see that? So now I'm going to pour in a third, and I think this might be the final layer of our water melt and pour. I say water because it's, you know, the water of the ocean. So I'm going to pour in one more layer. Unfortunately, the yellow and the red is starting to run into the water because it's maybe my melt and pour soap is a little too hot, so it's gonna have like little runs in it. Nothing I can do about it at this point. Spray it with some more rubbing alcohol and just let it be. Okay guys, my camera is having issues. So sometimes I think it's recording and it says that it's recording and then nothing happens. When I go to upload it, there's nothing there. So if you're missing some of my video, that's why. I apologize. It's just an error. Something's going on with my camera. So this is the soaps. Now that has I put the little dolphins on top, and you can see through the glare, you can see the red octopuses, the sharks, the starfish, the worms, everything's in there. I'm just curious to see what it'll look like once it's cut. So it's still partially liquefied, so I'm gonna let it set till tomorrow, and then I will cut it and hopefully it will turn out okay. Okay, so I just unmolded one of the bars of soap, one of the loaves of the ocean soap, I guess I'll call it. You can see the starfish and the octopus. See the little dolphins on top. There were definitely a few mistakes in it, but I think it turned out really good. Otherwise, you can see like the sand, the sandy ocean floor. So I'm going to cut these and I will show you how they turned out. Alright, so I just finished cutting all of these soaps. I am very, very happy. This is like I said, I don't usually use melt and pour soap. I'm more of a cold process person, but I really wanted to try this and I'm so glad I did because I think they're absolutely adorable. You can see like the ocean floor, you can see the sharks, the starfish, the octopus, the little dolphins on top. I am in love with these soaps. I really am in love with them. You know, they're not absolutely perfect, but I don't think any soap ever is. There's always something that you could have done a little bit differently. So I think these are perfect just the way they are. So they will be available on my website, Eartherella.com. I'll post the links below. If you make this kind of soap, or if you want to attempt making these, please post a link so I can check it out. I would love to see your creations. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.